Hey, welcome back again, everyone, for another episode of the Falconry Told podcast, and what is now the fourth episode in our series featuring falconers from Mexico. And, of course, I have to give a quick shout-out to the North American Falconers Association and the Falconry Fund, whose small grants program help make projects like this possible. If you want more information on either organization or want to donate or become a member, just head to n-a-f-a.com for the North American Falconers Association and falconryfund.org for the Falconry Fund. I'd also like to extend a personal thank you to you all for helping us achieve yet another milestone for the podcast. We recently achieved 150,000 downloads for the podcast. I think we actually passed it up an episode or two ago, but I wanted to go ahead and extend a very big thank you to you all for that. We continue to be very humbled and very appreciative of everyone's continued support who listens, and for all of you around the world who continue to do so, thank you again so much, and I hope you continue to stick with us. It's been a great 5 years, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you many, many more. And this episode is another first milestone for the podcast as well, because this will be the first episode that we bring you all that involves live translating. And I knew we would run into this eventually, especially with the continued goal of doing more international podcasts with different falconers from around the world. But I thought for a first attempt, this turned out pretty well. This will be something that we just kind of continue to try and refine and make better with the process as we continue to encounter it. But overall, Leo had a lot of very cool information to share, especially some different techniques that he uses with Cooper's hawks that I think you all will find pretty interesting. I know I did. So I hope you all enjoy it, and we'll just kind of see how this continues to go in the future with these. We had one more episode in this series that we did with translation as well, and I thought it went pretty well too. But anyway, I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll be interested to see your feedback and hear what you all think about it. And the other disclaimer I'll go ahead and give too is that this is the part of the week that I started developing a pretty nasty sinus infection. Whatever allergens were down there that I wasn't used to were definitely starting to take their toll on me about this time of the week. So from here on out, the rest of the episodes, I'm kind of stuffy, but I hope you all will forgive that. I did the best I could to kind of drug up and power through the rest of the week and get through these. So anyway, please forgive me for that. But anyway, I will go ahead and turn things over now to the conversation that we had with Leo Santana, and I hope you all enjoy it. Here we go. Well, like I said, this is going to be interesting. This is new and uncharted territory for the podcast. This is the first episode that we've done with live in-person translation. And yeah, we're just going to see how this goes, and I'm sure it'll be fine. But thank you, Eduardo, for agreeing to translate.
My pleasure, my man.
Yep, and it's good practice for you since you're going to be the next guinea pig tomorrow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess we should go ahead and just start off by talking about the flight that we just saw.
Okay, I'm going to translate just this.
Sure.
Vamos a platicar del vuelo que hiciste ahorita acá abajo. This is my good friend Leonardo. Santana, he's from Morelia, Michoacán, and he's a master falconer here, and also a very good friend of mine, and someone I really respect. So it's interesting to have someone talk about his falconry now and his experiences flying hawks and falcons and all. So I'm gonna let him talk, and then I'll translate.
Sure.
Bueno, comenzamos en una charca donde pensamos cazar unos patos. Traemos una hembra de peregrino enatum. Soltamos, se colocó más o menos 250 metros, ya que tenía una altura que nosotros consideramos que estaba lista para cazar. Salió una ralea y desgraciadamente perdió altura y se salieron los patos de la charca en su primer intento.
So first of all, we were gonna try on some ducks in this pond that it seemed perfect, but when the falcon hit the roof of 250 meters, someone flew something that wasn't intended, and I think it was a dove or something, and then the falcon chased after and missed on the ducks. So after that first flight, we moved to a different pond and tried some other ducks, and Leonardo is going to talk more about this.
Seguimos con la rutina, la pájara siguió tomando altura, decidimos cambiarnos de campo de vuelo, estaba otra charca aproximadamente a unos 500 metros. En lo que llegamos nosotros a la charca, la pájara ya traía suficiente altura, traía 500 metros sobre nosotros. Hicimos el llamado, se coloca, se levantan bastante patos, yo vi alrededor de unos 200, 300 patos, y hace una excelente picada a 216 por hora.
So right after that, we had to take the car and move to another pond, as I said, and yeah, he called the falcon in order to get ready for it, and she had a much more altitude to get a better shot at the ducks. And then when we got into the pond and flew the ducks, she was already set and perfect. And we calculate there were like probably 200 to 300 ducks flying off, and right after that she made a nice slip. The GPS recorded 216 kilometers stoop, and that was a great hunt on a Mexican duck.
Sí, una excelente cacería de pato mexicano. Cuando llegamos tenía un halcón de cola roja a un lado, que fue una cosa que pensamos que era peligro. Por fortuna alcanzamos a llegar y no hubo más.
Yeah, but when Leo came in to pick up the falcon and the duck, there was this red tail like 2 meters off, and it was a bit scary. But after that, it was all fine when he flew off, and we had no more danger in the vicinity.
Good. Yeah, no, it's bad news. I know red tails are every bit as bad as eagles and other things like that for falcons, and like I said, I'm glad that nothing bad happened. But so on average, what pitch or what altitude do you prefer before you get the ducks up for
de hoy?
Off the pond? Sí, ¿cuál es la altura que prefieres tú para cazar más o menos?
Lo prefiero dependiendo del terreno. La verdad, la altura de hoy tenía la siguiente charca, la tenía a más de 800 metros, entonces daba perfecto para eso o más altura. Dependiendo si hay charcas más cerca, es la altura que le damos al ave.
It really depends on where are you flying and what are you flying for. So in this particular case, he said he would like. I mean, the altitude he had, it was just fine. Probably a little higher because there was enough space for the whole thing. But yeah, it worked perfectly. And but yeah, it really depends on where you're flying and what are you flying for.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I know that when there's a lot more wide open spaces, then higher altitudes are fine because there's not another pond for the ducks to fly into and all that. I didn't know if you were the type of falconer that no matter what, you just always prefer to have a super high, pitch, or if you're fine with lower pitches also, or because there's some falconers that will not serve their falcon if it's under a certain pitch, and I didn't know what your preference was, or
sí. Bueno, la pregunta estaba dirigida para ver si eras purista en cierto sentido o la intención era saber si tenías la apertura normalmente como para decidir en el vuelo si necesitaba muchísima altura o no. Dice que John, que hay muchos halconeros que no haría ningún tipo de lance si el halcón no estuviera a una altura correcta o incluso muy arriba. O sea, que hay gente que no disfruta otro tipo de vuelo y que era realmente dirigida para saber cómo era tu preferencia a la hora de cazar con la peregrina, ¿no?
Ok. Yo normalmente esa peregrina la vuelo temprano, 9 de la mañana, entonces le cuesta un poquito más tomar techos. Son techos de 250 metros. Y no cazamos en charcas, cazamos en canales, entonces si tienes un poco más de techo ya no alcanzas a hacer que el pato salga sobre del canal para que el halcón llegue a arremeter sobre de él.
Leo said that he normally hunts very early. Well, not very early, but at 9 a.m. in the morning. So she won't climb up so high since there's no thermals and another particular thing is that he's regularly hunting in the ditches, and he's not. He's hunting in some ponds, but where he hunts the most is in ditches, and he cannot have the falcon having great altitude because otherwise he wouldn't have a shot to get anything.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I just, some falconers, as we've talked about before, I think we were talking about this some the other night too, but, some falconers just don't want to serve their birds under a certain altitude because they think they won't go up to higher altitudes, after that. And they have a tendency to get lazier, so to speak, and whatever. But I didn't know if you had experienced that or not, or, like I said, I'm just curious. Every long winger has different opinions on that kind of stuff. So.
Sí. Igual me comenta John que que hay gente que no le va a producir al pájaro si no lo tiene a cierta altitud, porque puede pensar que el pájaro se va a volver flojo o que ya no va a querer volar después a altitudes mayores. Entonces, que prefieren siempre dejar que se eleven para hacer así. Pero, quería de nuevo clarificar la preferencia en tu caso, ¿no? Pero la idea principal es ver qué tanto estás tú como muy casado.
No, la verdad es que no. Dependiendo de la hora, sabes que el halcón se va a poder subir o no. El terreno también lo manda mucho. El peso del ave. O sea, si vas a una charca y traes el peso un poquito más justo a donde está volando, pues el pájaro siempre va a estar muy atento, no va a querer subir tanto, que si sabes que va a ser un terreno donde ocupas que el halcón vuele un poco más, pues igual lo llevas un poquito más arriba de peso, ¿no? Para que esté un poquito más suelto.
Mainly he's mentioning about the actual mindset of the falcon. Like he plays with it in different ways. It depends on the hour and the place, and probably he'll have her fly a little higher in weight in order for her to be more loose and get more altitude. I mean, and it really depends when she's really in like a Yaga state or something, and she'll be more attentive, and she'll have better manners when flying, and it really depends on the situation and the actual hunt at that particular moment. So he has no
no set limits or anything.
Not set limits or a regular preference.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, like I said, everybody seems to have different things that they will or will not do, and whatever. And I mean, circumstances always dictate what you're going to do. Like you said, time of day, temperature, weight, all that kind of stuff. I understand all that, so it makes sense. But so where did you say you were from again? I'm sorry, I missed that earlier.
¿De dónde eres?
Soy de Morelia, Michoacán, México.
Okay. Where is that in comparison to here?
It's central Mexico. It's west of Mexico City, like 300 kilometers away from Mexico City to the west. It's a very beautiful state. Lots of water. That's where most of your avocados come from.
Oh, okay.
And it's a beautiful place to live and for flying.
Nice, nice. So, I mean, have you lived there pretty much your whole life?
¿Has vivido toda tu vida en Morelia?
Estuve algunos años viviendo en el norte del país, en Sinaloa, México, haciendo igual cetrería.
Yeah, he was living in northern Mexico, well, in Sinaloa and Mochis, and he was doing falconry there as well. And ¿cuánto tiempo?
5 años.
He was there for 5 years, and yeah, he was flying there and enjoying life.
Gotcha. So you've just really only lived there for, within the last handful of years then, or
in Morelia?
Yeah, like where he's at now.
No, he was born and raised there.
Oh, born and raised. Okay.
Yeah, and then he moved into Sinaloa. And,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, yeah. Well, and you've pretty much only flown long wings there. Have you flown
solo
muchos?
alto vuelo?
No. El alto vuelo lo tengo volando cerca de unos 15 años, pero lo fuerte mío, a mí me gusta mucho la cacería de codornices con perro de muestra. Eso es lo que más disfruto yo.
Yeah, but he's been flying long wings for the past 15 years, but what he enjoys the most is quail hunting with pointing dogs.
Okay.
That's his like the one he likes the most.
Gotcha. Okay. And with a different species or...
Sí, con aves diferentes, ¿no?
Con aves diferentes. Sí, hemos volado, comenzamos volando Harris, después seguimos con los Cooper, halcón aplomado y actualmente estamos cazando con Azor, codornices.
Coopers, Harris, and Aplomados.
Yeah, there was Harris, Coopers, Aplomados, and now Goshawks.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, great. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't know I didn't know where that was, let alone what kind of terrain they had around there, what kind of game other than ducks. So, yeah, I mean, is there any other things throughout your time as a falconer that you've really enjoyed hunting as well, or has it pretty much always been mostly that?
¿Hay alguna otra cacería que hayas disfrutado mucho antes? O sea, antes de clavarte con las codornices y...
Cacé por muchos años conejos, liebres con los Harris. 10 años tal vez.
Yeah, basically when he was flying Harris-Hawks, he would hunt for bunnies and jackrabbits, and for about 10 years, and like that was his main query at that time, particularly with Harris-Hawks.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like everybody goes through at least one Harris Hawk phase. I mean, there's people that I know that don't, that haven't, but and won't probably ever. But it seems like that's one of the birds that all of you in Mexico here end up going through at some point in time or another. But
parece que todo mundo pasa por algún Harris en alguna etapa y sobre todo aquí en México, ¿no? Entonces, sí creo que es algo que la mayoría de nosotros hemos iniciado y disfrutado.
Claro, yo volé un halcón cola roja antes de cazar regular con los Harris. Sí llegamos a cazar, pero no tanto. Lo que me encantaba eran los techos que tomaba y los pocos lances que se hacían así, y es lo que disfrutaba, pero efectivamente no era una cacería tan constante como con un Harris, la verdad.
¿Eso fue antes de los Harris?
Antes de los Harris.
He started off with a red tail before... red-tailed hawk before hunting with the Harris Hawks, and he really enjoyed having them, like go up and catch some soar up, and that he wasn't that successful, but he would hunt with a red tail like that, and he really enjoyed it. And right after he was more successful with the Harris Hawks.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out west, particularly like California and other western states in the U.S. that have a lot of fun soar hawking red tails and stuff too on jackrabbits and bunnies and things. So.
Yeah, we get the videos though.
Yeah.
Sí que en California los vuelan mucho así, los disfrutan altaneando y que cazan de esa manera. Entonces, I think that was mainly why he did. ¿Lo hiciste por eso no? Porque, o sea, ¿tú tenías ya la idea?
Lo llegué a hacer después de ver un video justamente de la California Hawking, que así los volaban. Un aniversario de un videito.
There was some influence out of some of those videos that we got when we were young, and basically he tried it here and really enjoyed it.
Good. You guys certainly have the win for it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Sí hay el viento para hacerlo.
Sí.
And hilly places.
Sure.
Sí,
yeah,
lugares así para hacerlo.
Exacto.
yeah. Well, you said you started off with pretty much with a red tail, and I guess this would be a good time to go ahead and just talk about how you got interested in falconry, and kind of your backstory, and how the bug bit you, so to speak.
Que, bueno, básicamente empezaste con el cola roja y que es buen momento para que nos platiques cómo es que te interesaste por la cetrería y qué fue lo que te atrajo a volar halcones.
El primer contacto que yo tuve con las aves rapaces fui muy chico, vivía a unas cuadras del zoológico de Morelia. Entonces mi madre me llevaba todos los días en las tardes a pasear, a cansarnos para pasar la noche, ¿no? Para no dar lata.
¿Sabes a qué edad más o menos?
Desde los 5 años hasta los 10, 11.
Okay. He was when he was very young. He lived by a zoo in Morelia, and basically his mother would take him to that place to round around and get tired and come back and have a good night's sleep. And so that was his first contact with raptors and some sort of like cage bird, and he developed some interest in seeing them in the zoo. ¿Y después?
Después hice mi servicio de la escuela ahí en el zoológico Morelia y precisamente entré al departamento de aves.
Later on, when he was studying, he did some service work and volunteering there at the zoo, and it was exactly where the raptors were, and in that particular area of the zoo, and he started having more interactions with them.
Sí, ahí empecé con el contacto con las aves rapaces y ahí conocí un poco del manejo. Yo ya era cazador, empecé a leer un poco sobre la cetrería y empecé a combinar el manejo de las aves rapaces con lo que yo sabía un poco del campo, ¿no? Para tener la efectividad que tenían ya los pájaros.
Well, at that time, he was already a hunter. I mean, con escopeta?
Sí.
He was already like a regular hunter with shotgun and all, and so he was already interested in the outdoors and hunting. And with all that contact with the birds and his service, he would start reading about falconry, and one thing led to another, and then he got like the sickness.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, and about how old were you during that time? Whenever you...
Ahí tenía 19 años.
19 years old.
19 years old.
19 años. En el 2001.
2001.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of times where I wish that I maybe would have found out about this or discovered this when I was younger. But, I've had this conversation with people many times also. I don't think that I would have been able to do it, though, because of my living situations, my schooling schedule, and everything else. But so, I mean, during your time, during your late teens, 19 years old, were you pretty much doing other things or not doing much other things that allowed you to have the time to dedicate to learn and to hunt with the raptors? Or
well, dice John que a él le hubiera gustado también tener un contacto previo, mucho más joven, pero que pues por su manera o situación de vida en ese momento no era del todo viable y posible, pero que considera que tú previo a tus 20, o sea, en esa adolescencia tardía, que hayas tenido eso, que tuvieras ese tiempo y esa facilidad de interacción con las aves, que bueno, pues puede haber sido algo que hubiera sido benéfico y prolífico para tu cetrería.
Sí, claro, la verdad que siempre con el apoyo de la familia, pues era un poco más fácil, ¿no? Si salía un libro o algo, lo podíamos conseguir de cierta manera, y después vino a revolucionar todo esto, pues los medios, ¿no? El internet.
Yeah, he's saying that basically it was perfect for him doing it at that time because he had all this support from his family, and whenever a book will come out, he was able to get his hands on it, and yeah, he had all the support and the time that he needed to like develop as a falconer and enjoy this wonderful sport. And
Great. Well, and as far as how much time then kind of went by before you went from flying that first red tail to the Harris hawks and the other species? Then about how long did it take you to discover flying those other species or decide that you wanted to?
Sí, después de volar el cola roja y cómo, o sea, cómo nos puedes platicar cómo fue como una línea de tiempo de cómo fuiste pasando de especies y cómo fuiste decidiendo volar una cosa o la otra y cómo fue esa experiencia.
Ok, volé primero el cola roja del 98 al 2002.
So he flew that red tail from 98 till 2002 and then...
Desde 2002 hasta el 2008 una hembra de Harris.
So from 2002 until 2008 he flew just one female Harris hawk and después
de esa empecé volando los Cooper, gavilanes de Cooper hasta hace 3 años atrás volé interrumpidamente los gavilanes.
So after that he jumped into Cooper's hawk and he never stopped until 3 years ago when he started with the Goshawks. But yeah, he would enjoy flying regularly Cooper's hawks and codorniz. On quail.
Mm-hmm. So our mutual friend Eduardo here and I have had a conversation the last couple nights about which is the bird that's better suited, you think, to fly quail, and we're trying to convince him to fly either a smaller male goshawk or a Cooper's hawk on the quail. And what do you think? Which would you prefer to fly on the quail?
Que nuestro amigo mutuo, o sea, yo, tuvimos una conversación el otro día de cuál sería un pájaro más adecuado para volar a codorniz, y entonces queríamos saber tu opinión.
Sí, el azor o el...
No, que cuál para ti es el pájaro estrella para volar codorniz.
Sin duda el Cooper Hawk.
Yeah. I was going to say, don't be skewing this.
No, I'm not. No. I was saying exactly what you said, that you were recommending. Él me recomendaba volar otra cosa, ¿no? O sea, como estoy volando la hembra de azor a las codornices.
No, las cazan también muy bien, pero sí es diferente porque entran a la herida y el Cooper no deja ir nada, ¿no? O sea, abajo es mucho más rápido que cualquier otra.
Basically, the Cooper's hawk is the star of the quail world and hunting. But he says it can be done with a female goshawk.
Otra cosa, el azor es una maravilla, sentir el poder salir del puño, cómo te empuja la mano. El Cooper Hawk no sientes nada, ¿no? Abres la mano y sale volando, y el Cooper, el azor sientes un poquito más.
One thing in favor of the goshawk is that when it leaves your glove, you actually feel it, and you feel that power, and right after anything that's running or whatever, and when a Cooper's hawk leave, you won't feel all that much.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of success, he says Cooper's hawks are way better.
Yeah, no, I think the feeling that launch off the glove and that initial burst of speed is a big reason why people that fly goshawks get addicted to them, and I'm sure that you could probably attest to that to some degree. I mean, a little bit, but...
Sí, que esa sensación de poder y de arranque y de velocidad, que es lo que realmente te cautiva y que te atrapa a la hora de volar un azor, y que es lo que gran parte de los azoreros pues experimentan y los engancha a volarlos, ¿no?
Sí. Más que nada eso. La verdad que yo sé las cualidades que tiene uno y el otro, y para la codorniz no hay mejor que un Cooper.
Yeah,
indiscutiblemente.
He agrees totally on the burst and the power, but he will have to say Cooper's hawk is way better at quail hunting.
Yeah. Well, and I've flown neither at quail. I don't have quail where I live. I don't hunt quail. I've just gone by what I've seen and heard from other friends of mine that do fly quail pretty regularly and stuff. And Eduardo and I were having a fun little debate last night about it and stuff, and over some more alcohol. But anyway, no, I mean that's great though. As far as the experience with Cooper's Hawks, did you ever have much trouble with the manning process, or did you get one as a passage or imprint? Or I always like talking to people about their Cooper's Hawks experience, because that's another whole other can of worms there too. But
bueno, que primero que nada que entiende perfecto esto que estamos platicando el Azor, que ayer justamente al calor de unos tragos tuvimos esa discusión muy amena, y que bueno, que le interesaría saber mucho cómo ha sido tu experiencia improntando Coopers.
Ok, bueno, empezamos como en los libros, el McDermott, fue algo de ayuda. Después hicimos durante varios años ¿cómo te explico? Una doble impronta. Bajábamos al polluelo del árbol, lo teníamos una mañana con nosotros, en la tarde lo subíamos al nido, la mamá le daba de comer, a veces dormía con nosotros, lo volvíamos a subir al día siguiente, y la verdad es que sí veíamos una diferencia en el carácter del ave, ¿no? Menos agresiva, se cuidaba un poquito más las plumas. Eran aves que no teníamos que usar ni siquiera el protector de cola, porque eran tan tranquilos y sabían pararse muy bien que no había la necesidad de estarlos cuidando tanto, la verdad.
Yeah, he basically uses McDermott's method, and he read the book, and that was his first manning process, like following that guideline that's worked for many of us. And but yeah, later on he tried something different using that method, but he would climb up a tree and take the chick, mm-hmm. and he will have him for an afternoon, and then he'll put it back, and then again bring it back in the morning, and then and so forth, and maybe have it for a night, and then
really?
Bring it back, and then yeah. So he was saying that's the best he's done, because those birds would actually take way more better care of their feathers and their manners, and they will stand differently, and probably have different behavior much better than a complete imprint. So he says it's like a double imprint thing,
yeah.
And, but it's not like a tame hag, because the parents are, they're feeding them still, and he'll climb and up and down like on a regular basis, and put it back, and then bring it down, and socialize with the dogs and all. So that's the best he's done. Y que si alguna vez volaste algún pasajero.
Sí, también.
He has flown passage Coopers as well.
Yeah. Bien, muy buenos para cazar, sí. Muy nerviosos para mi gusto. La idea de esta última crianza que hicimos durante esos años era al término la meta era cazar un macho de Moctezuma adulto y liberarlo lejos de la civilización, y nuestra creencia era que, pues como ya había convivido gran parte de su crecimiento con su congénere, pues iba a poder sobrevivir, ¿no? Dejo de saber cazar, buscar una pareja o algo.
Okay, first of all, the passage he enjoyed, and they were great for hunting, but he didn't like that they were nervous, much more nervous than an imprint or the other method he used, and that he was saying that in the late years he would get those birds done like that and trained, and his main goal was to hunt one male of Montezuma quail and then let them go right after. So just do it for the fun of it, catch one quail, and then he'll let them go free, and his hopes were that they would be successful in the wild. So it was like a hobby and a part-time thing, because he would be flying something else, and but he'll do it when the time was right, from cuando es mayo a ¿Cuándo lo hacías?
De mayo hasta octubre.
May, in the month of May, he will start doing it, and then
Primer semana de mayo.
the first week of May, and he would cut them loose in the early October, right after his first catch or so on. So it was just for the fun of it.
Well, that's I've tried a couple of passage coops and so far really haven't been successful with them. And I think that the majority of people that do try with them, you know, unless you're just lucky enough to get that one, you know, lower percentage type of bird that you know, just is okay for falconry, passage coops are one of the hardest birds you can definitely fly. And I don't know if you would agree with that or not, but I'm glad that that's the first that I've heard about. I mean, you hear about people tame hacking all the time, you know, and things like that, but I've not ever heard of anybody climbing up and down a tree to put a chick back in the nest multiple times. I mean, how many times a day were you doing that?
Bueno, primero dice que probó los Coopers pasajeros y que no le fue muy bien. Y que, bueno, él ha platicado con muchos halconeros y que a menos que seas uno de esos suertudos que les va muy bien con el pasajero, pues puedes tener como éxito, ¿no? Quisiera escuchar esa opinión de cómo ves ese tipo de pájaros. Y después que también o sea, he escuchado de muchas personas que han hecho la crianza campestre controlada, pero nadie, o es la primera vez que escucha que alguien sube y baja del nido a los pájaros regularmente para, pues, tenerlos conviviendo contigo, claro, y con los papás. Y que cuántas veces te subiste y te bajaste del árbol para hacerlo, ¿no? A lo mejor no eras tú, era alguien, pero sí. O sea, en ese periodo de mayo a octubre, ¿cuántas veces calculas que subiste y bajaste al pollito
claro,
del nido?
Pues con el pasajero hubo capturas, hubo cacería, pero lo mismo nerviosismo, irlo a corretear cuando llevaba en mano una presa pequeña, esperar a que estuviera otra vez en peso para que bajara, eso fue lo que no me llenó, la verdad. Sí cazábamos bastante, duré un buen rato con él, pero es pérdida de tiempo después de la cacería, era lo que no me...
Yeah, he totally agrees on the passage bird part, because even though he was successful and he would take the query on a regular basis, it was kind of frustrating at times because of they will like take the food and like eat somewhere else, and he'll have to wait like everybody does, you know, when the bird takes the food with them, and yeah, they're much more nervous and wary, and so even, I mean, he enjoyed it, but he didn't like the nervousness and the whole scared bird situation. Y después de lo de los pollitos.
Lo de los pollitos. Esa crianza la hacemos durante 43, 45 días, subiéndonos aproximadamente la mitad, 20 veces. 20 días, tal vez 2 veces al día. La verdad es que no lo hacía yo, lo hacía mi buen amigo Ricardo Sapien, que es mi mano derecha desde hace muchos años. Él es el que... Tenemos ese nido y todos los años lo vamos a ver, desde muchos años. Sigue la pareja ahí y la verdad es que se disfruta mucho. Tenemos cerca de unos 30 gigas de memoria, porque todavía le ponemos una cámara subjetiva en una rama y estamos viendo el proceso, ¿no? Tenemos marcado nuestro pollito y sabemos qué tanta cantidad de comida le dio la madre allá arriba también, ¿no?
Entonces, en esos 40 días, o sea, ¿lo haces por 40 y tantos días?
40 y tantos días, porque ya empieza a ser ramero. Ajá. Y a veces no trae el hambre suficiente para poderlo bajar, y entonces es un temita ahí. Ya entonces, el tema ya de bajarlo de la rama ya a esa edad.
Cada 2 días te subes, o sea, más o menos.
Diario es el manejo.
¿Diario 2 veces?
2 veces el manejo. Ajá.
Okay, so he said that most of the time he was not climbing the tree. It was his good friend Ricardo, who's his right hand in his this endeavor. So I don't know, that he might be a G.I. Joe or something. But it was Ricardo that was climbing the tree, and he would do it twice a day for around 43 days, because that's when they start becoming branchers. And in that time, that's it. That's the correct time to get them down, because otherwise it would be super hard to get them, when they're flying off, and they won't have control over what they're eating. And so that's when they starting to do the actual training. And when he does that, or they do that, they install a camera there, and they have like ¿cuántos gigas?
30 gigas de
like 30 gigabytes of footage while they're doing it, because they get to see the mother feeding the chicks, and so they can like kind of be accurate in the feeding process and all. And they've been visiting that particular nest for many years now, and they do it every time or so often. And when they choose the chick, they mark him. ¿Cómo lo marcan?
Con una tintura en el plumón.
So they use some kind of ink in their the inner coat,
sure.
I don't know how you call
it.
Downy.
Yeah.
And they mark that particular chick, and they monitor it with a camera, and then Ricardo will climb
inclusive le poníamos comida a la madre, o sea, pajaritos abiertos, para que ella llegara, no cazara, llegara, y de ese mismo lo agarraba y llegaba al nido.
They would even bring food for the adults to feed the chicks, and make sure they will be well fed at that time, so they will kind of help the parents feed the chicks. ¿Qué le daban? Pajaritos.
Pajaritos.
Yeah, like sparrows, and they will give them a gift to the mother, so they would be fed properly.
Wow, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. That's very interesting, though. That's the first I've ever heard of anything. I mean, I don't know if people have been doing that or not, but that's the first I've heard of people going to that many links especially for like a Cooper's hawk. But
sí, que eso es demasiado trabajo, y que es la primera vez que escucha que alguien hace una situación así como ustedes, ¿no? Un trabajo arduo y cansado, pero que es muy particular, y que no había escuchado que nadie más lo haga.
Sí, la verdad que fueron 4 temporadas que lo hicimos, y la verdad que nos resultó muy, 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 muy bien.
They did it for 4 straight consecutivos.
Sí.
4 straight years, and it really worked, and they it was fruitful.
I would hope it would be.
Sí, que esperaría después de todo ese trabajo que fuera redituable.
No siempre lo hacen en el mismo árbol, ¿no? Había ocasiones que la subida era muy fácil, pero había otras que tenía que llevar más equipo de lo necesario, Ricardo, y un poquito más de valor.
So it's not in particular. Not every year they would nest in the same place, so they would choose different trees to do it. It was the same area, el misma área, o sea, mismo.
A 3, 4 árboles, uno
okay,
de otro,
they'll be
30 metros.
In the same area, but they will choose different trees, and sometimes it was very easy to climb up and down, and other times it was much more difficult because they would need extra equipment and ropes and to get their deed done. And
so whenever you got the bird as a brancher, then did you try and mimic for at least a little bit? Did you try and mimic the feeding schedule that the parents were doing, like that you were watching from the camera, or did you just go straight into training the bird your way, or how did you do that after you got the bird as a brancher?
Cuando ya era ramero y lo tomaban, todavía usabas todo lo que habías visto de los horarios de la mamá para llenarles el buche y demás, o ya empezarías ya el manejo normal.
Se empieza el manejo ya normal. Una vez que ya lo tienes abajo, ya empiezas normal con tu...
When they get him off as a brancher, they will start off just like a regular training.
Yep.
Yeah. They will not mimic the schedules or anything.
Gotcha. I didn't know if there was anything else in particular you were doing, or if you were just starting how you would want to train then. So that makes sense. And then, I mean, how long then was it before you were flying game after you got them as a brancher? that time? Like how many weeks was it on average, do you think?
Después de eso, ¿cuánto tiempo te tardabas en cazar? O sea, de día a día.
No, estamos hablando que lo bajábamos al día 50, más o menos, unos 15 días. Que estás cazando después del día 60,
Okay.
ya que está seco de pluma.
So after that, it won't take that long, probably a fortnight, and they'll be hunting. He says that by day 60, they'll be successful at hunting. So 15 days after the whole brancher thing.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very cool.
Sí, que está chingón.
Sí, estuvo.
Yeah.
La verdad que vamos a volver a intentarlo pronto.
He says he's gonna do it again soon.
Well, I think that there would probably be a lot of people very interested in your exact method and how you do that if you ever decided you wanted to write, an article or write something about that. I think there would be a lot of people that would be interested to find out even more details than what we're talking about on this podcast.
Sí,
But,
piensa que va a haber mucha gente interesada y que valdría la pena que escribieras algo al respecto.
Sí.
Porque el método puede tener mucho interés en las personas que escuchan el podcast y que valdría muchísimo la pena que pudieras... Pues,
Tenemos por ahí ya algo plasmado con Ricardo. De hecho, eso fue con el motivo que lo hicimos, ¿no? O sea, los primeros años fue para nosotros, después ya tenemos evidencia fotográfica y en video, y ya nada más nos falta pues poner sobre el papel, ¿no? El resto.
Yeah, there's plans to do it, and it was one of the main reasons that they wanted to do it, because and that's why they documented it. They have the photographic evidence and videographic evidence, and they have thought about it, and they just need to start writing it and then put it in paper.
I'm sure Eduardo would love to translate it for you. I mean, he would write it for you. He would translate it to English for you. I'm volunteering Eduardo to do that for you.
Que yo te lo voy a traducir con
Claro.
mucho gusto. Que estás seguro que voy a ser voluntario, voluntariamente a fuerzas.
Ahora te va a tocar volarlo a ti. Para que conozcas un Cooper Hawk.
He says that I'm gonna be flying that one.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. And that's the exchange of service fee. He gets to fly the bird in exchange for translating your article for you. There you go.
Esa plática ya la habíamos tenido con Eduardo y yo le recomendaba, ¿sabes qué? Antes de volar un azor, vuela un gavilán para que veas la diferencia en cuanto tengas el azor y todo se te va a hacer más fácil aparte, ¿no?
Yeah, when we started with the Goshawks, we had that chat, him and I, and he was saying, you should fly a Cooper's Hawk before you fly a Goshawk, and you will know what's going on, and flying a Goshawk will be so easy after that. But I never tried it. But we did have that talk, and he was very kind to offer me one of those birds, but.
Well, you didn't listen to him then either, so it's all good.
No, it was tempting, but
well, no, that's
ready.
Yeah, that's funny. That's great stuff, though. I look forward to reading that. Like whenever the time comes, that would be great. And you've done it for as many years as I think anybody would probably,
commit.
Yeah, I mean, that you've done it a lot. So, and you've repeated the method over and over again to show that it works. So,
Dice que le encantaría leerlo, el artículo, que
claro.
en cuanto lo tengas, que se lo compartamos, por favor, y que...
No, pero igual invitado cuando estemos haciendo esto, también con mucho gusto. Tal vez el año que entra vamos a...
Well, he says that probably... that you're always welcome to come and see it for yourself, and whenever you want to. I mean, when they're doing it, and that he definitely will try and writing it and sharing with others what his experiences are with this method that he has been successful with. Y me decía también que o sea, que ya está muy probado para ti y que valdría la pena que compartieras esa experiencia porque pues lo has hecho consecutivamente y a través del tiempo varias veces y ya lo has probado como
Sí,
algo que funciona, ¿no?
funciona y funciona bien.
Yeah, he says it works and it works fine.
I believe you. I mean, if you have been doing it this long and you have evidence and everything else, then there's no reason not to believe you. But yeah, I mean, this would be a good time to go ahead and get at least one or two good stories. You know, some of your favorite hunting stories or experiences, or maybe some stories about your favorite birds that you've flown, or whichever you would prefer. But
Sí, bueno, que ya sería un momento ideal ahorita para hablar de historias de cetrería tuyas que hayas disfrutado, que tengas particularmente en la memoria y que te gustaría relatar, no solo con los Coopers, pero con cualquier pájaro, tus pájaros preferidos, o sea, que hablaras a detalle de tu cetrería y de historias o lances que hayan sido memorables para ti.
Pues precisamente la semana pasada fue un día de estos donde estaba yo cazando codornices Moctezuma. A muestra de los perros se va en las tras de una parvada de Moctezumas. Lo pierdo de vista tal vez a unos 400 metros y de repente el equipo de telemetría de GPS se muere, ¿no?
Yeah, since we're talking about this happened just last week, and he was hunting for Mearns quail or Montezuma quail with his male goshawk last week, and the dogs pointed some quail, and right after a long slip, probably 400 meters away, his GPS signal died, and ¿qué pasó después?
Pierdo la señal una hora. Yo pienso que es mi equipo telefónico. Desinstalo la aplicación, la vuelvo a instalar y no me daba. No me daba.
So right after he lost that signal, it was dead for like an hour, and he thought it was a phone issue, you know, and he uninstalled the app and reinstalled it, and he had no signal or anything going on. And
Cuando retoma la señal estaba a 2,900 y pico de pies, el ave de donde yo estaba. Entonces me acerco ya en la camioneta y cada vez me daba un poquito mejor la señal hasta que me metió a una charca.
okay, once it got back and he got up some signal or some, like, you know, beeps from the transmitter. It was like 2,900 pies, 2,000, like
Como
3
un kilómetro.
like 1 kilometer away or 2,900 feet away from him, and he was at that time in the car trying to get to where the bird was, and it was in a body of water.
Terminó el lance en una charca, en un pantano, y tenía un macho de pato golondrino en sus garras. De adentro del agua, tenían tal vez una hora con él en las garras.
So he found his bird with a duck in this swamp, a pintail duck, a drake, and they would be there. When he estimates that they were there for like an hour, and he was just standing there with a duck in his claws, and like an hour later, una hora después, ¿no?
Una hora después.
Yeah. So it started with a quail slip, but he found the bird with a pintail drake in his grasp and inside a swamp. Then that's probably why the signal was
because
dead.
of the water.
Yeah, because of the water. Y después.
Pues el pájaro estaba al borde de la hipotermia de tanto tiempo en el agua fría.
Yeah. The bird was super cold because he was soaking wet, and he basically picked him up and said, "¿Te lo llevaste? ¿Y qué?"
Me lo llevé con la secadora.
Yeah, he picked it up and then he like started drying the bird, and it was ya estaba oscuro.
Ya estaba oscuro.
It was starting to get dark because he flies in the afternoon, and so he was getting his bird dry and and I was happy with his pintail duck. Yeah.
Well, and it makes you wonder sometimes the some of those little extra flights or parts of flights that we miss. I guess we'll always be kind of cursed with not knowing if those were some of the best flights that we would have possibly seen, or if it's just, you never know, I guess.
Sí, te hace imaginarte, o sea, que en esos lances que no tuviste la facilidad de apreciar y de ver de qué tan bueno o malo fue en la cacería, pero pues que lo deja en la imaginación, ¿no?
Eso
que
es.
que en realidad...
O sea, es
¿no?
una hora de la mente volar, ¿no? Eso es lo que más
Sí.
te queda.
Yeah, he says that exactly. He agrees with it. That feeling when you're wondering what's going on with your bird, and it's always kind of like two blade thing. It's you enjoy it once you find the bird, but then
Double-edged sword.
Yeah, double-edged sword.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's the
Yep.
word exactly. Because once you find it, you enjoy and you're happy.
Yep.
But if not, well, you're just worried and
You're like, damn it, I missed it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's when you find it. But if not, you're just worried. And
Sure.
so, me imagino que para ti, o sea, la cetrería es ese desamor y esa sensación de pues siempre estar al pendiente del pájaro, ¿no?
Claro,
Sí.
siempre saber dónde está es lo...
Yeah, I mean,
Mejor.
this is memorable because he, in falconry, really values this thing that whenever something doesn't go your way, or as you were planned, it was planned. I mean, it's always good to be chill about it and be patient and have that in mind, especially when things go wrong.
Sure. Well, and I guess go ahead and tell us then what your favorite bird has been. Like what's been the favorite bird that you've flown of any species?
¿Cuál ha sido tu pájaro favorito? O sea, de cualquier especie. O si puedes decir hasta un nombre o demás, o a lo mejor puedes, you can name
Tengo
various.
dos
Okay, he has two.
favoritos, uno por cada técnica. Yo creo que en el bajo vuelo, sin duda, un azor, y en el alto vuelo, un macho de gerifalte por peregrino que volé.
So
para mí son el
he
top.
has enjoyed, I mean, his favorite birds are definitely in short wings, the male goshawk, and in long wings he flew ¿qué era? Gerifalte por
peregrino.
a deer peregrine that he really, really enjoyed, and that was a particular bird. That hybrid was excellent, and he really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And what out of those two birds, I mean, what were the qualities of those two birds that made them your favorites to fly? Those particular two birds.
¿Por cuáles eran las cualidades que te gustaban de esos dos pájaros en particular?
El macho de Azor, las codornices Moctezuma, que es la que más me gusta cazar a mí, la que tengo en mi zona, es un lance espectacular, la verdad. O sea, me gusta mucho buscar terrenos limpios con amplitud para yo ver siempre todo la persecución.
So in the male, the goshawk tearsil, he really enjoys the Mearns quail slips, and he tries to find places where he can enjoy that chase, and he really chooses some open spaces where there's quail to be hunted, and wherever, I mean, in these places where he can actually see the whole flight and enjoy that. So that's his thing with the tearsil goshawk. And
el híbrido, por la forma de subir, o sea, era muy particular su forma de tomar techo tan rápido y con el clima que fuera.
And the deer peregrine hybrid, he enjoyed the most because of the way he would climb up, and it didn't matter if it was cold or hot or whatever. That bird would just, gain altitude and climb and have great roofs.
La valentía de él también,
And
o sea, era un pájaro que volaba en 600 gramos y los patos golondrinos, los Y los Mexican Duck los hacía pomada.
And he also says that he standed out because he was super valiant and brave bird, because he was only 600 grams flight weight, and he would kill big ducks like nothing. Like big, we have our Mexican ducks; they're big ducks, as the one we got earlier, and drake, pintail will be hunted easily, and no problem with that bird.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's like I said, I'm glad that we had this conversation. There's a very large amount of cool stuff that I think that came of it, but I want to go ahead and end on the same note that we've been, or I should say the same note that I've been ending on here lately, and just want to ask you, what particular piece of advice, or what's the best piece of knowledge that you've gained in your time in falconry that you think would be worth passing on to aspiring falconers, or younger generations, or pretty much anybody in the sport?
Sí, bueno, que hemos hablado de cosas muy fregonas, y que seguramente hay muchas más que podríamos cubrir y mencionar, pero vamos ya como a darle término. Pero quisiera saber, John, ¿cuál sería una recomendación o un pedazo de conocimiento que te gustaría compartir y pues pasar hacia adelante? Respecto a tu cetrería, en tu experiencia, ¿no? Hacia gente que pues pudiera necesitar algún consejo.
Mi consejo es, si vas a hacerte de un ave rapaz, o si ya la tienes, dedicarle todo el tiempo que sea posible, y hacerte del ave, o si ya la tienes, especifica tu zona de vuelo, ¿no? O sea, lo que te cueste menos trabajo llegar y disfrutarlo, ¿no? O sea, ¿por qué hacerte de un ave que no podrías disfrutar en una zona?
Well, first of all, he thinks a very good piece of advice is to, whenever you're gonna commit into flying any bird, just make sure you have the time for it, and give him the best of your time and your effort in training and flying, and to choose wisely what you're gonna fly, because you have to be aware that you cannot fly anything anywhere, and you have to be smart about it and choose wisely to hunt whatever you have available to hunt, and a bird should be suitable for that matter, for your falconry. So it sounds obvious, but it's not always like that,
Sure. Yeah, and we've talked about that before plenty of times, and it's another one of those points that I don't think you can ever hammer home too often. I mean, we all get tempted to fly something that we think is, quote unquote, like sexier or something, but it really isn't the best tool for the job. But no, that's perfect. I think that's a perfect note to end on. And like I said, I thank you for your time, and thanks for letting me watch your bird take a duck today. And I really appreciate you sharing all the details in this conversation. And like I said, I hope that I am able to come down and check that out, the Cooper's Hawk thing, with you sometime. And I look forward to reading about it.
Muchas gracias por haber dejado ver que haya como tu cacería de hoy, o sea, que la hayamos podido compartir y disfrutar juntos, y que le encantaría muchísimo venir a ver lo del tema del Coopers, pero le gustaría más leer al respecto.
Perfecto, lo vamos a redactar, y al contrario, gracias a ustedes por la invitación. La verdad que fue una mañana muy, muy llena de lances, vimos de todo desde temprano, y pues me tocó cazar, que fue muy bueno.
He would like to thank you for the invitation into your podcast, and the invitation, in the ranch to go hunting, and we had a really good time with other birds that we saw, and he had a successful hunt today, and he's happy about it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, be sure to tell him that he's had one of the few this week. You know, and as far as what we've seen, one last final dig at you there, Eduardo. but thanks again so much to you as well, my friend. I'm very thankful that you were here to help me with this, and I probably wouldn't have been able to do it without you.
This
So
is
thank
my
you.
pleasure. Y me dijo que tú eres de los pocos que ha cazado y que te lo diga por favor, porque pues ese es un pedradón para mí.
No, estuvo buena. La verdad que se prestó todo el entorno.
Yeah, he says
Gracias por todo.
It was great, and everything was right at the time, and thankfully it happened, and it ended well. And yeah, I would like to thank you myself for this opportunity as well, and to collaborate and help a friend as well.
Perfect. Well, and you'll have your opportunity in the spotlight tomorrow, I'm sure, or sometime over the weekend. But great, guys. Let's go have a beer, and let's just end it on this note. I think it's great.
Salud.
Perfect. Thank you.
Gracias.
Saludos. Gracias por todo.
Saludos. Thank you.